5 grand purchase, who already is a winner at the top level. Can she add another back at a mile? We'll find out in the company of your big race commentator today, Alan Howes.
Remarque goes in. Random Harvest for stall number 7 to complete the lineup. And they're off, racing away. 1 mile the journey for the Tattersalls Falmouth Stakes. It's Group 1 for the fillies and mares, a never-ending story in the dark blue jacket was well away. Together with Astral Bow, now clearly goes on. Astral Bow under Shane Kelly will lead them after the end of the opening furlong from never-ending story near side. Last year's winner, Prosperous Voyage. Behind those, blue jacket with the red cap with the noseband is Remarque. Over toward the far side is Random Harvest in the maroon silks. Further back to Nashwa in the dark green. Dark green pick there for Via Sistina, and at the back is Coppice as they continue up the home straight, and they'll soon be the halfway. Astral Bow leading from Prosperous Voyage. Never-ending story goes along in 3rd position. Then came Remarque. To the outside is Random Harvest. Then Via Sistina in front of Nashwa, and Coppice is at the rear of the field. They're racing now down towards the final 3.5 furlongs. Astral Bow leads narrowly from Prosperous Voyage towards the near side. Remarque is in behind those. Via Sistina moving up with menace towards the outside of Random Harvest. Then came Never-Ending Story. Coppice behind that was and then Nashwa, who's trying to find a way through. They're racing now down inside the final quarter mile. Astral Bow about to be joined by the nose-banded Remarque. Nashwa coming through towards the inside, looks a major player. Via Sistina's under pressure. Coppice out wider inside the final furlong, and Nashwa has strode on now. It's Nashwa by a good few lengths to Remarque. Then came Via Sistina and Astral Bow heading up towards the line. Nashwa gets right away to win the Falmouth Stakes impressively. Nashwa the winner from Remarque, Via Sistina 3rd. Astral Bow is back in 4th and Coppice in 5th.
Oh, she was good today, dropped to a mile, and the old Nashwa is back. Holly Doyle rides another Group 1 winner. John Gosden trains another Falmouth Stakes winner after successes for Nazif 3 years ago, Elusive Kate 10 years ago, and all the way back to Ryafan in 1997. He trains this one in the colours of Imad Al Cigar. 4-1 Nashwa has returned here for John and Thady Gosden and Holly Doyle. Daylight was 2nd, but the 3-year-old Remarque has run a good race, another sound race, but put in her place firmly, as were her generation as a whole. In the soft ground, Nashwa has sluiced up the stand side rail to add another Group 1 to her victories in the Prix de Diane and the Nassau Stakes last year. When she's on song, she's a class act, and she's shown it, and she's been brought back to concert pitch quite beautifully by the Gosdens.
Yeah, quite possibly the miling performance of the season so far, that from this filly. She's produced a big performance, hasn't she? Back under the tactics, similar tactics to when she won the Nassau last season. Holly Doyle keen to restrain her from the stall. She got lots of cover. Last couple of starts, she's gone forward, she's over-raced. She was keen to just get plenty of cover on her, relax her towards the back, be more patient, and that has really paid dividends. She's clearly just coming to herself, isn't she? And she's put up, I would argue, probably a better performance than even the Nassau last season.
Once again, success in the feature race of the day for the Gosdens. We saw it yesterday with Isra absolutely bolted up in the Princess of Wales's, and this filly has made no mistake here. Angus McNay, in his analysis at the beginning of the programme today, made a very, very bold shout for this filly based on her closing splits in last year's Nassau. Said they really proved that she was much more a miler than she was a long middle distance filly, and that's what it's looked like here. It's just taken a while to get there this year.
She's fast, isn't she? Yeah, she really tanks through races. She's enthusiastic. We remember her powering her way through the Oaks last season, not getting home. She doesn't stay a mile and a half. She's very much mile and a quarter. I think this is the best way to ride her as well. It's going to be interesting to see what Holly thinks about that, but obviously it works. It worked in the Nassau. It works this afternoon. She's got loads of cover. She's stalked, she's sat, and she's full of confidence in behind them. She's going best some way out. Via Sistina, for whatever reason, hasn't fired. There's probably an element of the mile. She's not produced the pretty polyform, I don't think, has she?
Or do you just think she's not as not as effective at this distance.
I think the trip has played its part, hasn't it? Looking at the way that she's
and
run.
She's backed up very quickly too.
But there was a point of the race where I thought you were more likely thinking it's a flat run on the back of a hard race in the Pretty Polly. The way that she's kind of rallied and stuck at it a little bit in behind, I suspect that it probably is an element of the trip, you know, playing its part there. She seemed to get outpaced a little bit, and then she has plugged on. It could be a combination of the two factors. She's still hanging in, isn't she? And she leans on Random Harvest there on the head-on. She has that tendency, Via Sistina, to go to her right, and she hasn't done Random Harvest any favours, but she was struggling at the time.
I thought Random Harvest might get out and get an uncontested lead like Ascot, but I was reckoning without Astral Bow, who set out with real intent and has run pretty well.
She's run really well. She's finished fourth. She was just closed down late on for a placing in a Group 1 here, Astral Bow, but she's run a huge race. It's probably a lifetime best from her, to be honest, at least right up there with what she did at Doncaster earlier on in the season, but just in better company. They'll be delighted with Remarque as well. She's again run the race of her life, I would say, but Nashwa was on fire this afternoon, and as I say, I think that might well be top miling performance of the season, certainly.
So are they going to have to
made for it?
Are they going to have a major rethink now and think about running her in some of the very best
mile races,
open to all mile races?
Well, you would be very tempted to, wouldn't you?
Would you be tempted to have a bash at the Sussex Stakes with her against Paddington and against the horse who won yesterday, Nostrum, and others?
They might be tempted. They might be tempted. I think they'd be within their rights to certainly consider the top mile races. There might be a different path to different races towards the end of the season, but there has to be a consideration there because she's absolutely blown them away here.
Now, Holly Doyle debriefing Teddy Grimthorpe there. Teddy Grimthorpe, for so long associated with the Juddmonte outfit, and most famously when the Juddmonte outfit were winning races everywhere with a certain Frankel. And guess what? Frankel's the sire of this filly, Nashwa. Yet another one. And now Teddy Grimthorpe in the capacity as racing and breeding advisor to him at Al Cigar and Blue Diamond Stud Farm.
Yeah, she's obviously just been a little bit slower to come. You know, she's taken time to come to hand, I think, this season. She got beaten at Newcastle. Perhaps that has just it clearly has just brought her forward significantly again from that defeat. She was only worn down late at Newcastle, different tactics, and in hindsight, an ideal preparation to deliver what she's done today.
Well, there was little doubt about this from an awful long way out. Nancy Sexton there, a key part of the Blue Diamond outfit, advises on a lot of the pedigree analysis. And you can see John and Thady Gosden as well, co-trainers of this filly by Frankel. Well, Tom, I guess if you want to collect, all you need is the right result. But if you were with us at the beginning of the programme, you got the right result and you got the working.
Yeah, you did. Even if you still went on your own about Remarque. Well done to Angus. He was spot on, and she's absolutely hacked up. I feel like the QE2 could just be her race, couldn't it?
Well,
off the back of that.
I was wondering whether you go Celebration Mile and then take on the really big guns. That Celebration Mile often a weaker race. I mean,
but you're not going to come down to
Group 2.
You either go Sussex,
yeah,
or.
But that looks taking on Paddington. Do you still want to do that? Even though Martin says this is the mile performance of the season, so why not? She'll get the fillies allowance,
Very
obviously.
Good.
But I mean, it looks like she's got a future.